Hey everyone, this is Jeff Praissman with the Interactive Brokers Podcast. It's my pleasure to welcome back to the podcast studio Scott Bauer from Prosper Trading Academy. Hey Scott, how are you?
Jeff, I am great. Yourself?
Just trying to stay warm, Scott. Just trying to stay warm.
Exactly.
No, we love you coming in here, and we usually get to see you a couple Wednesdays a month for our market update, in which, for our listeners who aren't aware, we do a quick 5-7 minute long podcast just on the week we just passed through and what's ahead. And today is no different. Scott, we're busy right now, but looking back at last week's trading activities, what were some of the biggest drivers behind the market's moves? And were they more sentiment driven or data driven?
And I think a little of both, quite honestly. And to me, what really set things in motion was the Fed and Warsh and just the whole backdrop there that, maybe because he has been a little bit more hawkish in the past, maybe rates are not going to be coming down anytime soon. So we've seen that in the 10-year and rates actually moving higher. And I think because of that's put a little bit of some concern into the market, especially on the tech side of things, where we started to see that sector rotation out of it.
Yeah, and a lot of tech news coming out. Palantir, I think, did they come out today? Because I saw they're down 10%. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming.
Palantir was 2 days ago. I think it had a nice pop yesterday, but giving it back today.
But anyway, earnings season is in full swing.
Yep.
Scott, which sectors have surprised to the upside, and which ones in general have fell short of expectations?
So this whole sector rotation is in place. So big tech has fallen short. I'm not so sure that the results or guidance has fallen short, but stock performance certainly has. The latest one is AMD, which just came out, and we obviously saw what happened with Microsoft. Many of the others, we get Alphabet after the close today, and I'm actually very bullish on Alphabet, so we'll see what happens there. So a lot of the big tech names have taken a nice hit. Look at even in the payment space, PayPal just got annihilated. And it's again, when you dive into some of these reports, they don't seem to be so bad. On the upside, we're seeing stocks like a Caterpillar and even some of the banks that have been pretty strong recently,
Right.
and still continuing. The banks, JP and Goldman recovered after the sell-off, Capital One. So those are the areas that have shown some strength after earnings.
And with geopolitical tensions and central bank commentary in the mix, how are the institutional investors positioning themselves for the week ahead?
I think very cautiously. It's so funny because over the last couple of days, if you followed the market movement and if you followed the VIX intraday, it has been just spot on with how quickly the market has moved. So I think there's a lot. Again, I go back to saying there's a lot of concern, even on the institutional side, that things are happening so quickly. So I am seeing a lot of upside VIX call buying from the institutional side. And I think people and big firms, they're just positioning not for anything catastrophic to the downside. But listen, it's been a while since we've seen a 10% correction or so, which is normal for the marketplace. And I think maybe we're starting to see some positioning for that.
And what key events or data releases are people looking out for over the next 5 days or so?
With the delay of JOLTS and the delay of the January non-farm payrolls, if we get them next week, the anticipation is we might get them next week instead. That's going to be the big one. That is going to be the key economic drivers for the marketplace. We're getting a little bit towards the backside of earnings. So yes, I mentioned that we still have Google and we have Amazon. So people are going to be looking at that as well. But I really think the focus is going to be on the data that we see about the jobs market, because we know how intertwined that is with rates, the Fed, and quite frankly, where the entire economy is going.
Scott, this has been great as always. For our listeners, you can find more from Scott at prospertrading.com or on our website. Go to IBKR.com, go to education. You can find past podcasts as far as webinars. Scott, thanks again, and see you in a couple weeks.
Thank you, Jeff.
The analysis in this material is provided for information only and is not and should not be construed as an offer to sell or the solicitation of an offer to buy any security. To the extent that this material discusses general market activity, industry, or sector trends, or other broad-based economic or political conditions, it should not be construed as research or investment advice. To the extent that it includes references to specific securities, commodities, currencies, or other instruments, those references do not constitute a recommendation by IBKR to buy, sell, or hold such investments. This material does not and is not intended to take into account the particular financial conditions, investment objectives, or requirements of individual customers. Before acting on this material, you should consider whether it is suitable for your particular circumstances and, as necessary, seek professional advice.